Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're on board Utopia of the Seas, which is one of the largest cruise ships in the entire world, and I'm going to be doing a full walkthrough going deck by deck to show you exactly what it's like to be on board, and let's get started with that right now. As I mentioned in intro, Utopia of the Seas is one of the largest cruise ships in the world, and it has tons of neighborhoods, and we're going to tour them all as well as look at the entertainment options on board. If there's something that I see and I like and I enjoy, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is and why. And also, if there's something that I didn't quite find appealing, I'm going to let you know that too as well. So without any further delay, let's get started. Okay, now we are going to start our tour by going to the pool deck. That is going to be on deck 15 and 16, and it has 4 pools on board, and it has a huge kind of pool theme. As soon as you go on the pool deck, you look around and you're like, wow, it's just really expansive. And each pool has a little bit of a different type of a theme. It's very bright, very colorful, and this is where they have the sail away party. And I recommend as soon as you get on board, you head on upstairs, sail away party. There's lots of loud music. You can get your drink package started, meet the cruise director as well as the entertainment team. It's a huge ship, so it's not going to be quite as close and intimate as say some other sail away parties, but it's a great time to get started. Now I recommend you get your beach clothing if you want to participate by getting into the pool and being a part of that. If you put that in your luggage, then you're going to have a problem. But as you can see, everyone's dancing around having a great time, and again, great time to get started with your drink package. Now there are several hot tubs on the pool deck. As you're looking around the pool deck, you will see that there are tons of chairs, and the chairs are first come, first serve. Generally speaking, and in my experience, the closer you are to the pool, the harder the chairs will be to find. So if you want a more quieter experience, get further away from the pool, easier time to find a chair, and also much quieter. If you want to get one of those chairs by the pool, you can come out as early as 7:30 and you'll find any chair that you want. If you're there by 10 o'clock, most of those close chairs are going to be gone. The chairs, again, first come, first serve. Looking around, you're going to see various degrees of shade, and one of the things I love about this pool deck is that you can kind of make it your own. If you want to relax and just chill, you can do that. If you want to have a more in the sun type feel, then you can also do that. And it's elevated, so some chairs are higher than others. So if you have kids, and I usually cruise with my kids, I like to keep an eye on them. So if you're on one of those elevated spots and they want to go to multiple pools, you can just kind of keep an eye on them. And there are lifeguards and life vests available at no additional charge. Speaking of the different pools, there is Splash Away Bay. This tends to be for the older kids, but adults are in there too as well. There's also Baby Bay, and the thing about Baby Bay is that you can bring kids there who wear diapers. Diapers are not allowed in any of the other pools, so if you have little kids, this is a great spot for them. There are a total of 3 slides on board, and the biggest challenge with the slides is going to be the wait time. And the way to get around this is by using the slides, doing the port days, and also doing on embarkment day. And the slides are okay. It's nothing to write home about. I generally don't like slides on board cruise ship because I think they go a bit slow, but these slides were pretty good. There is a towel return center here, and that's great. You just use your SeaPass and you can turn in your towels and get fresh ones, or you can get as many towels as you like. Now, if you have kids, make sure to caution them, because if they don't return the towels, they're going to get charged. Let's slide on over now to the Windjammer buffet. One of the things people like to do more than anything else on board is to eat. And the Windjammer serves both breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Definitely going to be more popular for breakfast and lunch. Dinner not so much because of the main dining room. Now, one of the things that you must do on the first day, in addition to going to the sail away party, is go to the Windjammer buffet, because they serve lobster. It's all you can eat lobster. Not the best lobster I've ever had, however, it is really good. And it's lobster, so definitely you want to do that. Now, when it comes to food, I look at taste and variety, and it wins on both accounts. There is a huge variety. That's one of the biggest selling points of the Windjammer buffet, is the variety, and the taste definitely sells is a good thing too as well. Now, when it comes to seating option, I wish they had seats for maybe larger families and maybe a little bit different grouping, but also it has the more window seats than you'll find on a traditional cruise ship, and I'll tell you why. You can look on the outside towards the ocean and then also on the inside down towards Central Park, and you'll understand what I mean by that later on in the program. But there are a lot of window seat, lots of natural light that comes in here. So I mentioned earlier that they have strong variety. The menu changes every single day, so you'll see lots of new things that you haven't seen before, as well as some familiar favorites. They also have circular stations. That means there's no long waiting in queues. So if you just want to get one thing, it's easy to get in, get it, and then go ahead and leave. You don't have to wait in line like forever. Now, no matter what your dietary restriction, just because of the sheer variety of stuff, you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to find plenty of things that are going to fit right into whatever dietary needs you have. Now, one of the standout features that I really like is the omelet station. And that's because when you make your order, they give you a puck and you can go around and get the rest of your breakfast. And then when the puck starts to vibrate, that lets you know your omelet is ready. Now, there are complimentary drinks available in the Windjammer and throughout the ship, and those includes lemonade, coffee, water, tea, juice, and there is also a bar. So if you like alcohol, especially with your lunch or dinner, if you're eating dinner there, then you're going to be all the way set. On this deck is also Sprinkles, where you can get vanilla or chocolate ice cream. I am an ice cream fanatic. Love ice cream. In my opinion, not necessarily the best ice cream you're going to find on sea, but it's nice and convenient and right there. Now, if you have the alcohol package, then you're going to want to go to lime and coconut, which is a huge bar that's on the pool deck. It's not the only bar. We'll get to the other bar in a little bit, but it is a huge bar. It has waiter service, but most people just like to go to the bar and order directly from there. One of the things I did not like, it's an option though, is that there are crustadas for rent. You can rent them for as much as $250 or as little as $150. If you're frugal like myself and you don't want to rent that, in my opinion, there were plenty of comfortable seating and different types of seating all throughout. But the only challenge is the more comfortable, the better situated, the harder it is to secure. But when you have the casetas, you can have a guaranteed spot. I did see people use them. It wasn't packed all the way, all the time. So if you do want a guaranteed spot, especially if you have mobility challenges and you just want to enjoy your time on the pool deck, then this certainly is an option. $150 is a deal, but because generally it goes for around $250. Now, I did mention that there's another bar, and it's the View Bar. And the reason why they call it the View Bar is because it has some terrific views. It has seating all around the View Bar, and it's a small bar, but I really like it, especially the location because it's towards the back of the ship, and this is where the adult space is. So I love it for that reason alone. We are still on the same deck, believe it or not. This ship is so huge, and we're headed now to the Solarium. The Solarium is an adult-only space, and if you look at the Utopia from a distance, you'll see it has a huge glass canopy that covers the entire front section of the ship, and that's where the Solarium is. And the great thing about the Solarium is a tempered space, which means that it's, regardless whether it's raining, snowing, windy outside, it's going to be nice and temperate on the inside. It's again an adult only space, 18 and older. The great news is that kids are not in this space. There's no real reason for them to be here. It's not a walk-through space, and just looking around, you see there's lots of comfortable seating, and it has everything that you will need to include pools, jacuzzis. It has a really nice bar, hot tub, everything, and it has great views. So it's a great space. A lot of cruise lines now are like adults only, that Virgin kind of cruise line. Well, if you are sailing with your family or with others, or you like to have maybe some just quiet adult time, it's a wonderful space. Absolutely love it. And when I was here, I never really saw it being full or packed or anything like that. I'm sure people knew about it, but it wasn't ever too full. So I love this space. Like the Solarium Bistro is included. It looks like an exclusive restaurant, but it is not. It's for all ages, and there's no cover charge, and it's not a popular restaurant. It's very close to the Solarium, so it actually overlooks the Solarium, so it's beautiful. It serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and not very crowded. I call it the hidden restaurant because it's so forgettable. But it's a really nice space on the inside, and I love the fact that it has natural light that kind of floods the space. So if you want a more adult experience and have a area that you can eat, it's a buffet type area, and have more of an adult experience, definitely get a space that's towards the front of the ship close to the Solarium. You're going to be very happy you did so. Within the Solarium Bistro is chef's table, and this is kind of confusing because it's almost like a restaurant within a restaurant, but it's a specialty restaurant. It serves food as a group, and I did not eat here, but it's a very well decorated space. I love seafood, and if you're a seafood lover, then I recommend you go to Hook Seafood. It's right above Solarium Bistro. It serves New England style seafood, has a wonderful overlook, and there's a cover charge to be here, and it's a really nice place. I did eat here, and the food here is really good. Continuing on our tour, we're going to head to El Loco Fresh. This is your complimentary Mexican style restaurant. The best thing I can describe it to on land is going to be like Chipotle's. So you get your burrito together, and then you go to the Fixins bar and you can load it up. And the good thing is, when you're at like a Chipotle's, you can't tell them maybe put a little bit more of this, but you can do anything you want here. So if you like Chipotle's, you're gonna love El Loco Fresh. Right next door is Cantina Fresh, which is basically the bar that's complimentary to El Loco Fresh. Still heading down, we're now going to head to one of my favorite parts of the ship, and it's going to be the sports court. And I love the fact that it is so large. You can have a lot of different types of activities throughout the day. The sports court, you can play soccer, basketball, and the favorite of all is going to be pickleball. And they're all throughout the day that you're going to be there. There's also a table tennis, and the great thing about that is it's enclosed. So sometimes it gets windy on the deck, so you don't have to worry about your table tennis ball being blown away. There's also zip line, and everything I'm telling you right now is all included. So the zip line is going to be over Central Park. It's not too scary until you actually get on it and look down and you're like, wow. But the zip line is there, and it's complimentary too as well. Then there is Aqua Dunes, which is essentially mini golf. You can play this during the day as well as during the evening, and it's a really nice golf course. One of the nicest golf courses, or mini golf courses I should say, I've seen on the open sea. Then there is Utopia Playscape. This is great because oftentimes when maybe the cruise line has an activity for your kids aren't necessarily in the mood, but you can then bring them here to the Playscape, and essentially it's available for them to kind of like use at their own leisure whenever they feel like they're in the mood, when you have them dressed or when they're ready to go. And it's a great space for them to just basically have a great time. Now, one of my all-time favorites, and I keep saying everything is my favorite, but really this is one of my favorite. It's going to be the Flow Rider, and it's included, so you don't have to pay. The biggest challenge is going to be it's such a popular thing waiting in line, and in my opinion, based on what I've seen, you're going to probably wait maybe around 20 to maybe 35 minutes in line because it tends to be popular. You can get lessons to improve. They start you out on your stomach, and then from there you're standing, and some people get really good at it, and they have little different competitions where you have to stand on one foot and all these different things, but it's a great way to watch people just completely wipe out. And right next to it is going to be the Wipeout Bar. And the Wipeout Bar serves alcoholic drinks and shaved ice. None of these are included. You have to pay a little bit extra. And then right down the road is Ultimate Abyss. It's a horrible looking monster at the very back of the ship. It's a dry slide, and it takes you down to the next level. It's a 10-story slide, and it takes you down to the boardwalk. It's way more scary than it looks. Actually, I didn't necessarily enjoy the Abyss. I thought it was just going to be more terrifying, but it turns out to be just really a nice ride down to the next level, which is where we're going to head to next. The next neighborhood we're going to visit is the Boardwalk area. And this, believe it or not, has 10 different things that we're going to visit. We're going to first start off with the carousel. And this is just not for kids. If you're an adult and you want to get on the carousel, you can do so. And it's all included in your cruise fare. So nothing extra here. Lots of kids love it. Then we're going to head to the doghouse. This is another complimentary area that you can dine. And it's just burgers here. Not burgers, but hot dogs here. And you can add your different types of toppings and buns. So if you like that kind of stuff, then there's that here. Then we have Sugar Beach. This is a candy store and an ice cream store. And it has candy by the pound, so you can get your sugar fix here. Next up is going to be Kid Shop. So most of the clothing that you will find on board are going to be adult clothing, but they have their own specialty clothing for kids here. Not sure exactly why, but as you can tell, this is probably like maybe a kids area. So you'll find lots of kids here in this area. So therefore, why not have the clothing and the carousel and the Sugar Beach here all as well. Then moving over is going to be Johnny Rockets. Johnny Rockets is one of these hybrid type places where you have free breakfast. However, lunch and dinner do come at an extra cost. There is a kids area here. And if you just want to, one of the things I like about the kids zones in different areas is that you can just kind of leave your kids and you can sit down and enjoy a quiet afternoon and still kind of keep an eye on him. And that's what this area is. I don't even know what it's called. I looked it up. I couldn't find the name of it, but this area right here is for kids. Then there's Playmakers. This is an adult type area. This is adult sports bar, only adult sports bar on board. And it's also an arcade associated with it. And you can watch major games here. So if you're trying to convince my dad to go on a cruise doing, say, the NFL playoffs, you can forget, he's not going to go. However, if you're like, hey, look, there's a sports bar and there's Playmakers, it has food and, sports type bar feel, far more likely that he's going to be like, yeah, sure. So all the major games are shown here. The food here, unfortunately, is not included in your fare. And you can reserve sections. So if there's multiple games on at the same time, but you want to have a particular section for a price, you can reserve your own section. However, if you're going through a busy time period, I would definitely recommend you do that before you get on board. Now, when it comes to this cruise, I believe the number one venue, the absolute must that you must see is what you're looking at right now, and it's going to be the AquaTheater. The absolute best shows I've ever seen on board a cruise ship happen right here in the AquaTheater. It blew me out of my mind. You're going to have dancers, lots of lights, colors. They're going to be doing things in the air, jumping from really high spots on the ship. It's just absolutely breathtaking. Now, one of the things I would recommend you do is reserve your spots well in advance, because they do sell out, and they actually hold the seats for 10 minutes until the show starts, and you let anyone come in. So definitely reserve your spot. It's really popular venue. Now, there are 2 rock climbing walls. When I was here, I only saw them use one of the 2, so maybe they don't use the other one. It was a full sailing doing my cruise. So there are 2 rock climbing walls, and they're varying degrees of level depending on your comfort zone. So if you don't want to really stress over it, you can do one of the easy courses, and you can go up there and ring a bell and come back down. There is a massive jogging track, the longest I've ever seen on board a cruise ship. It goes around the entire ship. Now, if you imagine a quarter mile on, say, a regular traditional jogging track, it's longer than that. So this is an absolute massive, and it's a dedicated jogging track. You can only jog in one direction. And then they have these alcoves where you can kind of go to the side in case you want to rest, or if you just want to have some fun playing some games. The next neighborhood we're going to visit is going to be Central Park, and I love this place. It's one of the things when I was coming on board, I was just wondering how in the world are they going to fit all these things that you're going to be able to have access to sunlight and the open air. And it's just amazing how they are able to do this. And one of the things that really impressed me was Central Park. All the plants in here are real. They're 100% alive. And what you're going to find in here is a mixture of restaurants, places that you can sit down, there's a bar, as well as places that you can shop. Now, the main fixtures are going to be the restaurants, and there are a total of 4 different ones. The most exclusive is going to be Chops Grills. Chops Grill is on every single Royal Caribbean ships, and it sells steakhouse. It's a steakhouse. It sells steak here. I really like the fact that it has both indoor and outdoor seating. So if the weather is great, definitely, in my opinion, having an outdoor seat where you can listen to some live jazz is going to be absolutely 100% great. There's 150 Central Park and Park Cafe. 150 Central Park, you have to pay to go there, but Park Cafe is all the way free. It serves breakfast as well as lunch. There may be a few items in there that are cost, but for the most part, everything in there is going to be free. Well, I say free, really, it's included with your fare is what I mean to say. And I love going here in the morning. They have fresh bagels, and they have a really nice spread. The next restaurant that I want to focus on is going to be Izumi. Izumi in the park, and there are 3 sections here. There is the sushi section, the omakase table, as well as the hibachi table. And my favorite by far is going to be hibachi table. And the reason is not necessarily because I think the food is better than, say, Chops or one of the other restaurants there. I just love the presentation. I love them cutting the food right in front of you. I love them, you know, throwing the utensils around, food in the air, and just making a whole show of the entire thing. So if you have a special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, I recommend going to one of these restaurants. Now, are they better than, say, the free and included restaurant? Yes, they're definitely a step above that, and also the buffet. But I love the presentation, the quality of service, and the food tends to be better. So if you're a foodie, this is going to be the right space for you. And I love the fact that there is, you know, there's jazz music that's playing in the evening. So even if you don't come to the restaurant, just come here and just listen to wonderful jazz music is going to be great. Now, there's Trellis Bar, and then it's a great bar. And the best thing about what makes all of these things elevated is, in my opinion, is just the nice, comfortable, relaxing park atmosphere. Now, there is a jewelry store here as well. It's really the forgotten store. It doesn't do a lot of business. I really hardly see anyone in there, but there's shopping here too available as well. Now, if you look up, you'll see that there are rooms that actually face down into the park. So if you want a different look from, say, a room that faces the ocean, then I would give it a try. I love the fact that you have that option between the ocean or an inward facing room. You can hear music and sit on your deck and just enjoy the space in a different level. We are going to now move downstairs to deck 5 and 6 to the Royal Promenade, which is the largest interior space in the entire ship, and lots of things happen here. This is where you first enter the ship and you get that grand feeling like, wow, as you walk in through. I thought I was in a shopping mall. It has really high ceilings, it has stores. It was just a really fantastic, beautiful, well lit, and it had natural light coming into it as well. So a lot of things are happening here in the Royal Promenade, and we're going to start on the little upper deck, which is deck number 6. And right up the top is going to be Schooner's Bar. Schooner's Bars, it has trivia and it has kind of a bar feel. It has a more nautical type theme when it comes to the bar. And there's music, live music here, and a pianist. And you can play the pianist on request. And my recommendation is come early. That way you can get your request played because it gets kind of full. And it has music that kind of circulates in the area. It's a very busy area, but I love the Schooner Bar. Moving on. There is the shore excursion desk, so if you want to get off and see something, you want to plan it here or sort out any issues that you may have with your excursions right here. In my opinion, you save by basically doing it on your own. However, there's some risk involved in that. But if you want to be on the safe side and get a verified person that you know is going to be good, then right here, the shore excursion is where you need to go. Now, right next to that is going to be the photo gallery, and all the photos here are digital, and they use facial recognition software. Technology has come a long way, so you can just scroll through and select the photos that you do want. Now, I gotta say, photos here are going to be more expensive than you can find, say, elsewhere on land. However, the variety that you're going to get, you're on vacation, and these people are really expert photographers, so the quality is going to be exceptional. But if you're going to do it, definitely get a package deal. And if you want to take photos, start early. That way you can have a larger selection to choose from. However, the more photos you take, the more likely you are to get a larger package. My tip, and I'm staying on this a little bit long, but before you buy a photo, think, where am I going to put this on my wall? If you can't think of where you're going to put it, then don't do it. All right, I digress. Let me go ahead and move on. Now, if we walk down, we're going to get to deck number 5, and it's a nice, beautiful staircase that'll take you down there, and we'll run into the pesky parrot. And there's actually a mechanical parrot in there that talks to you. It's kind of a tiki bar type feel, and the cool thing about this bar is that the screen towards the back of the bar changes during the day and nighttime, so it has a really cool feel. Next to the pesky parrot is going to be Rising Tide, and this is a bar. When I first came on board, I didn't realize it was a bar until I looked down and I saw this open space, and I was like, wow, that's really odd. And then later on I figured it out that this actually rises up and down between several floors. It's absolutely a cool experience. It goes from the 5th floor all the way to the 8th floor in the center of Central Park. So if you're in Central Park, you look down, you see like a glass enclosure. That's the Rising Tide bar. You have to do it for no other reason than just the experience of it all. Now, going down a little bit further, you'll find right next to Rising Tide is guest services. Now, one of the things that you can tell that things are going well on a cruise ship is that there's not long lines of guest services. And we had a full ship and there weren't that many people there, which is always a good sign. Now, I'll encourage you, if you want to go to guest service, do it late at night or early in the morning. Do not do it on the first day. That's just my pro tip to you. Now, moving down, if you want to get internet, there is the Voom desk. They have great internet on board. The only problem is, for as much as you will pay for, say, 2 days, you're going to pay for an entire month on land. It is very expensive. However, they do have packages and plans that makes it a little cheaper if you want to get like a package of 4. So think about it, but really, if you decide to get it, no matter how you slice it, it's going to be expensive. Now, right next to the Voom desk is going to be Cafe Promenade. They do have a mixture of paid and included items. Pretty much the coffee that's gourmet is going to be paid, and everything else, all the little desserts, cupcakes, and all of that stuff is going to be included in your cruise fare. If you want to do a Next Cruise, there is Next Cruise right there. And then there is Bell and Barley, which is a English style pub. It's busy during the evenings, but not much is happening during the daytime there. They do have in the evenings a performance, usually some type of guitarist that's there, and it's bar type music, so that is an option right there for you as well. Now, the great thing about that is that it's right across the way from Sorrento's Pizza. I love Sorrento's, and most people on board do. You can tell by the lines that are there. Now, the great thing about Sorrento's is not only is the food good, but it's also open late at night. So if you want a late night pizza snack or something to eat, Sorrento's is going to be your go-to. Still sticking with the promenade, because there's a lot here. There's shops that you can buy stuff that are going to be inside the middle of the promenade as you walking by, and also retail stores that you can go in. There's the Royal Caribbean shop where you can buy Royal Caribbean logo type stuff. There's the accessory palace where you can get name brand bags. There's Port Merchant where you can get duty-free alcohol that is not going to be available to you while you're on your cruise. They'll give it to you at the very end, but you will have saved some money because it's a little bit cheaper than, say, buying it back home. There's Effie jewelry too as well on Royal and almost all the other cruise line. It's always a big part of cruising, so there's that too as well. Now there's Bolario's. This is a Latin bar, but they play reggae music here, and I just love the reggae. The band that they had while I was on board was absolutely fantastic. The musicians and the singers, I just, I'm filming for this video, but whenever I went in there and they were playing, I had to stop for a half hour and just enjoy the music. There's lots of dancing. So if you like to dance, there's dancing here. If you're not in the mood to dance, there's a bar here that can get you in the mood. You can drink a few drinks and you'll be ready to go. Bolario's is one of my favorites. Now, right across is probably the fullest. It seems like it was always full when I was there, and I love karaoke on board a cruise ship, but I don't like standing to watch the karaoke, and it seems like this place was always full. And the karaoke, and I like the fact that they had a dedicated space, but it's just too small. And so if you want to sing karaoke, get there early and get your name signed up, because it's going to be a full house. There's a standalone Starbucks coffee right in front of Spotlight Karaoke. Just talking about the Grand Promenade, there's a lot of stuff that goes on here. They have dances. When I was there, they had a veteran celebration, so they had that in the Grand Promenade. So they have a lot of stuff that happens here, to include a full-on parade where they have people that, you know, dance around and they're in costume and they bring out all these different apparatuses. So it's a really fun place, and it's the heart and soul of the ship. It's not a traditional atrium that goes straight up in the air, but it's just like a big, huge walkway, and it's just it makes you feel like you're not on board a cruise ship. Can't say enough about the Grand Promenade. Let's now talk about entertainment, because after eating, entertainment is the number one thing people like to do aboard cruise ship. And most of the entertainment is going to take place in the Royal Theater, and that seats as many as 1,400 guests. And if you're good at math and the cruise ship can hold several thousand people, not everyone can be in there all at once. So there's going to be multiple shows, and even when they do multiple shows, it still gets quite full. When we were there, it was pretty full, and there's good reason why. Because the entertainment was really good. There's dancing, music, choreography, lights. There's big, huge wall screens. They even had drones. I say drones that floated all about. People who were doing acrobatic maneuvers, costumes. There were lots of singing and a great mix of natural human entertainment as well as technology. Now, there was not any live music, so you're not going to see a live orchestra as you would on many other Royal Caribbean cruises, but I didn't feel that took away from the entertainment value at all. And this is all included in your cruise fare. There is an ice skating ring on board, and it's called Studio B. I have no idea why they call it Studio B, but it's called Studio B, an odd name for ice skating ring. And there's an ice skating show, and they do other game shows type things here. But the main thing is going to be the ice skating show. Now, I have seen other shows aboard Royal Caribbean ships, and because I was so blown away by the AquaTheater as well as in the main theater, I was expecting to really be blown away by the skating show, and it was great. It wasn't the best I've ever seen. However, one of the things I do appreciate about the show is that there was a theme. Oftentimes you'll see shows on board, and it's kind of carnival show where it's feats of strength and singing and music and dancing, but no central theme. There was a theme to the skating performance, and I really appreciate it. And I think many of the guests really enjoyed their time here. If you like to gamble, or if you feel you have money left over after paying for this cruise, then there is Casino Royale. And there are actually two casinos. There's a very small non-smoking casino, and there's a much larger smoking casino. Now, unlike casinos on land, when you're gambling, there are no free drinks. There is a loyalty program, which some people swear by. People use it to get free cruises and things like that. I'm not telling you to do it, but there is some kind of benefit to gambling that you wouldn't find necessarily on land, and the payout is not quite as generous as you would find on land. However, there are benefits that you get by gambling at these casinos that you're not necessarily going to find on land casinos. And they have every single game imaginable. They have slot as well as table games, and there is a nice huge spot on board for drinking, so it has a really nice bar. So if you like casinos, you're going to like this because it was pretty full most of the time I was there. One of the most popular shows on board is going to be Utopia Station, where you're in a rail cart of sorts, and there's food and there's the entertainment value to it. The closest I was able to get was the front door. If you want to do this, I strongly recommend you buy your tickets before even getting on board. It is super, super popular. If you enjoy working out, there is a well-equipped spa. And on the first day, they'll give you a tour. Oftentimes, they'll give you a little bit of teaser massage to get you in the mood. The thing I would say about massages and spas and all that kind of stuff is that it tends to be, in my opinion, a bit expensive. What I would recommend you do if you want a particular spa at a certain time, do it before you get on board. I've never really seen it sell out, but I have seen you not be able to get the time when you want. Now, if you want to get your hair done, your nails done, and all that kind of stuff, definitely do that before you get on board, because oftentimes people like to get their hair done right before going to dinner. And if you try to get that time slot while you're on board, you're going to find out that you're going to get probably some inconvenient times. So definitely think about the spa package, but just be mindful that it can get a little pricey. Now, I cannot speak for you, but I can tell you that I really enjoy working out while I'm on board. And I think the number one reason is because I don't get enough opportunities to do it while I'm at home, and also while I'm on a cruise ship. I'm eating so much, it's kind of like I feel guilty, so I work out to kind of burn some of those calories that make me get hungry and eat more. I digress. But there is a well-equipped gym. One of the largest gyms I've ever seen on board a cruise ship is right here aboard Utopia of the Seas. I don't think it's the most attractive gym I've ever seen. However, most of the people who are working out don't really care about that. They just want to make sure they can get a full total body workout, and you can certainly do that here. It is a huge gym. You can do both cardio, free weights, as well as elliptical type machines, and then universal machines is what I like to call those, other types of machines. But there's plenty of workout opportunity. Utopia of the Seas is a family cruise ship. That means you're going to see a lot of kiddos on board along with your parents, and that's great. If you don't want that, then we talked about the Solarium area that you can go if you're an adult and just kind of want to get away. However, if you have young kids, there is programs for them, and it's called Adventure Ocean. So that's anyone under 18. It kind of falls under that big umbrella. Now, for the most part, everything they do is 100% included in your cruise fare. However, if you have babies between 6 and 36 months, they charge per hour. And if you have kids over that and they're doing something with them past 10 o'clock, then there's an extra charge for that. But for the most part, throughout the day and the evenings, you can have the kids be there and have a great time. They have dedicated spaces. They break it up based on your child's age. So if you have kids that are a certain age, then they'll break it up into the different age groups, and they can hang out and find their friends there. Recommend that you go there on day one. And the reason why is because they can find people of like-minded age and, like to do the same things, and they can get started meeting friends early as opposed to later on in the cruise. And also, it's hard to find people on board. You'll have a hard time finding your own family member. That's one of the downside of the cruise. However, one of the plus sides, if you have kids and you get them all together on day one, they can kind of exchange information, they can stay in contact with each other and just have a great time together. Now, some of the things that they have is open play area where anyone can go and have a great time. There's a family theater, there's workshop, table games, there are televisions, video games, and there is Social 100 for those teenagers, and they have their own space. It has really great views, nice seating, it has a patio area, a hot tub, and it's just a really relaxed area, and it's only strictly for them. So great space on board for kids. It's definitely a family cruise ship, and lots of things for them to see and do all throughout the day and night. There is an arcade on board. I generally have mixed feelings towards the arcade because it's $2.50 a game. Just after maybe an hour or two, that's going to add up really quickly. Definitely put limits on your kids' room key card, because that's how they sign up to play the games. Let's now talk about the main dining room. We've talked about food a lot on board. That's because, again, the number one thing people like to do on board cruise ships is eat, because there's all you can eat food, and the main dining room is included in your cruise fare. So there's no extra charge here. Now, the main dining room goes up 3 different levels. It is a grand, huge dining room. It has 2 different types of dining. You have traditional as well as anytime dining. Traditional is the same waiter, the same table every night, where anytime dining, you have to make a reservation and you're going to get a new waiter, new table. In my opinion, I tend to like traditional a bit more because you get to know the waiter, they get to know what you like, your drinks, your specialty orders, and they cater more to your every whims and needs. Where anytime dining, you get a new waiter every night. That way, though, if you have a waiter that you don't like, you get to basically explore and the different places to sit and eat, and it's a little bit more adventurous. So you really have the choice of making a call. Now, there are plenty of different food items because it changes every single night. And as you can see from all the pictures that are scrolling across your screen, there is lots of different types of food to eat. In my opinion, the food in the main dining room is exceptional. You don't really have the need to go to any of the specialty restaurant. The food here is that good. Now, there are things that you can order at an extra cost, like lobster or steak, but for the most part, everything here is included in your cruise fare, and the service is exceptional. They go out of the servers, in my opinion, go out of their way to make sure that you have a great, wonderful dining experience. Now let's head on over to the music hall, and in my opinion, one of the most underutilized utilize places on board the entire ship. It is absolutely beautiful. If you like a live band performance, this is absolutely the perfect venue. But for whatever reason, it was never really utilized as well as I would like. In the evenings is when you would expect that to be lots of bands and people here, but it was kind of dead. They just had a DJ. I'm not saying the DJ wasn't good, but just not a good utilization of the space. However, when it comes to comfortable seating and place you can go, it's more like a lounge, in my opinion, than a music hall. I really wish they had used it as a music hall because I was dying to go there and just relax and enjoy some good music. But there's that option too as well. Your sailing hopefully will be different than mine. Let's now head on to Giovanni. We're still on food. Giovanni is the classic Italian restaurant. You'll find it on most, if not every single Royal Caribbean ship. The thing that stood out the most when it comes to this particular Giovanni, has a phenomenal view. I would recommend you go outside if the temperature allows, and you'll have a wonderful view of that boardwalk area. And the food here is great. The ambiance is wonderful. It's just has a really nice looking feel to it. I enjoyed the food here in my time here, so I definitely recommend Giovanni's. The only challenge that you'll have with Giovanni's, and I'm not even sure that this is a challenge, is that it's a little tucked away. It's a little hard to find. I had to search for it. And even then, it was just kind of like, wow, they have this here. It's almost like tucked away, very hidden. But other than that, you're gonna really enjoy your time. Now let's talk about mobility, getting around. What's the use of having a great ship if you can't find anything on board, or if it takes forever to get there? And they have smart elevators on board. And smart elevators or destination elevators, whatever you want to call it, generally speaking, people don't like them. And the reason why is because they feel it's not as efficient. Now, you'll ask the technicians and they'll tell you that it's more efficient, but for the most part, people don't like them. Now, mostly when I go on ships that have smart elevators, people complain about elevators nonstop. However, I didn't hear anyone complain about the elevators here. I just think the ship is smartly designed and they have sufficient elevators. Now, they're going to be full during dinner time hours. That's kind of the rush hour of the cruise ship. So outside of that, though, the elevators was an absolute breeze. The only thing that you may not like about these particular smart elevators is that they don't give you an estimate as far as how long the elevators will come. And some smart elevators do give you an estimate, but these don't. You pretty much press the button and it'll tell you what stall to go to, and you go there, the elevator opens up, you walk in, and it takes you to your destination. Let's go on now and take a look at the cabin. And while we take a look at the cabin, I'm going to tell you how much I paid for the cruise and whether or not I thought the cruise was a good value. First off, with the cabin, it was a balcony cabin. I was going to say ocean view, but it's a balcony cabin, and I loved it. I loved the design. I loved the contemporary look of it. It felt and it was great. I felt like I had enough drawers and space in order to put my stuff, so I have no problems whatsoever with the cabin. Now, when it comes to whether or not this cruise is actually worth it, you'll find that Utopia tends to be a little bit more expensive than maybe some other cruise lines. And the reason why, it's one of the largest ships in the world, and you can see from this video, the stuff in here is really nice. Now, the question is it worth the upcharge? And first off, let me lay the foundation here. I tend to be very frugal. I don't even usually get a balcony cabin. I am always on the inside. However, they didn't have any available when I was booking, so I booked a balcony cabin based on how many people we were sailing with. And I paid $1,000 for a 4-day sailing. Was it worth it? It was right on the money. If I paid $1,001, it'd be too expensive, and if I paid $999, it would be just $1 short. I felt it was worth it. The extra that I paid, I saw it. I felt that I wasn't being taken advantage of, and I think that you'll find that sailing on board Utopia is going to be one of the best cruising experiences that you'll find anywhere.